Being on the throne isn't just about wearing the crown. It's about being the king everyone wants to take down. You've got to prove your superiority to anyone daring enough to challenge your reign. That was exactly the situation Michael Jordan found himself in 1992. Coming off his first NBA title in 1991, MJ was on another level. He just won his third MVP, already had a Defensive Player of the Year award under his belt, clinched his 6th straight scoring title, and was named an All-Star for the 8th time. It seemed like nobody could stop him. But just when he looked like the undisputed king, a new lion was on the hunt: Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing was the Knicks' golden ticket, the first overall pick in the 1985 NBA draft. And from day one, he wasn't just trying to save a franchise, he was here to make his mark. By 1992, Ewing had already built a monster resume: 6-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, averaging 24 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. His skills at both ends of the court allowed Ewing to dominate in the paint, making him one of the best and most dominant centers in the league, a one-man wrecking crew who made it clear he wasn't backing down from anyone. But then came the playoffs. The Knicks found themselves toe-to-toe with Jordan's Bulls. It was set up to be an all-out war. Ewing was ready to challenge the throne, pushing Jordan in ways no other team had. This wasn't just a game anymore, it was personal. And MJ himself knew the stakes, and he wasn't about to let anyone take what was his. But what happened in the series would not only cement Jordan's status, but also solidify his legacy as the greatest player of all time. Fresh off his first championship in 1991, Michael Jordan was on a whole different level. He had secured his 3rd MVP, his 6th consecutive scoring title, and averaged 30.1 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 6.1 assists as the Bulls tore through the regular season with a staggering 67-15 record, tying for the 4th best in NBA history. But Jordan was more than just a stat sheet stuffer. He was the undisputed king of the league. His game was a thing of beauty, from his lethal jump shot to his explosive drives to the rim, all wrapped in a smooth, effortless style that made even the toughest plays look graceful. After overcoming the bruising, physical Detroit Pistons to win his first ring, Jordan seemed unstoppable, poised to dominate again. But standing in Jordan's way was none other than Patrick Ewing and the New York Knicks. Ewing's arrival in the NBA was seismic, shaking up the league from the moment he stepped on the court. By now, he had cemented himself as one of the best centers in the game. And the Knicks? They were serious title contenders in the East. In the 91-92 season, Ewing was a beast, averaging 24 points, 11.2 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game, while leading the Knicks to an impressive 51-31 record. Ewing wasn't just about putting up points, though. His defense and sheer physicality turned the Knicks into a relentless, bruising force. Their whole game revolved around him. And this Knicks team wasn't just out to win. They were out to wear teams down, hit after hit. Their tough, aggressive, grinded-out style made them one of the hardest, most punishing teams to go up against in the league. As the playoffs rolled around, the Bulls made quick work of the Heat, sweeping them in the first round. Meanwhile, the Knicks scrapped their way past the Pistons in a tight series, setting the stage for a showdown with Chicago in the 1992 Eastern Conference semifinals. The Bulls had one goal: a 2nd consecutive NBA championship. But getting there wasn't going to be easy. After years of struggling against the physicality of the Detroit bad boy Pistons, they now faced another bruising opponent in the Knicks, led by the ever-determined Ewing. Chicago had swept New York in the first round of the 1991 playoffs, but this time, the Knicks were a different beast. They were hungry for revenge, and they were coming for the Bulls. Now, the Bulls were heavy favorites going into this series, riding the momentum of a dominant 67-15 regular season that earned them home court advantage. But right from the jump, Patrick Ewing and the Knicks made it clear they weren't going down without a fight. In Game 1, Ewing was unstoppable, dropping 34 points, pulling down 16 rebounds, and swatting away 6 shots, leading New York to a 94-89 win. The message was simple: the Knicks weren't intimidated. The Bulls answered back, taking games 2 and 3, and it seemed like the reigning champs were back in control. But the Knicks, known for their relentless grit, refused to back down. they clawed their way to a 93-86 win in Game 4, tying the series at 2 games apiece. This wasn't just a basketball series, it was a war of attrition. The first 5 games were all decided by 8 points or fewer, each one a grind. The physicality was off the charts, with every possession feeling like a battle. And after Michael Jordan torched the Knicks in Game 5, New York coach Pat Riley had seen enough. He took his players to the video room and made them relive every moment MJ humiliated them on the court. The message was clear: stop Jordan by any means necessary. With Charles Oakley, Anthony Mason, Xavier McDaniel, and Ewing on the roster, the Knicks had the muscle to turn the game into a brawl. Their plan? Make it as physical as possible, even if it means turning basketball into a hard-hitting football game. Ewing later described the series in The Last Dance. "We hated each other. It was extremely physical. It wasn't really a foul until you drew blood." And that's exactly what the series felt like. Hard fouls, trash talk, and tempers flaring. The Knicks were in the Bulls' faces every second, never letting up. By Game 6, the tension was at its peak. Back at Madison Square Garden, fueled by a rowdy New York crowd, the Knicks turned up the heat. Behind 27 points each from Ewing and John Starks, they held Jordan to just 21 points on 9 for 25 shooting, one of MJ's worst playoff performances ever, and routed the Bulls 100-86. The Knicks had forced a Game 7. For Jordan, Game 7 was a nightmare scenario. The last time he played in one, it ended in disaster, with a crushing 93-74 loss to the Bad Boys Pistons in the 1990 Eastern Conference Finals. Now, 2 years later, he was in one again, and the pressure was on. The tension was in the air, with every fan in the packed arena feeling the gravity of the moment. The Bulls were fighting to secure their second straight championship, while the Knicks, having pushed the series to the brink, were determined to pull off a historic upset. As the ball was tipped, Chicago won the tip, and just like the previous games, it quickly turned into a slugfest of fouls and hard plays. Jordan was the first to strike, calmly sinking 2 free throws before adding a silky jumper to get into his rhythm. It was clear early on that the Knicks were intent on making every possession difficult. Every time Jordan touched the ball, they threw bodies at him, trying to wear him down. Both teams went point for point, foul for foul, and Jordan, mostly relying on his lethal mid-range jumper, carried the offensive load, while Scottie Pippen attacked the rim with relentless drives. Despite the constant physicality, Chicago ended the first quarter with a 30-25 lead. As the second quarter began, it was more of the same, with both teams trading baskets. Ewing was the heart of the Knicks' offense, battling in the paint and putting up points despite heavy resistance. The Bulls answered with more mid-range jumpers from Jordan and tough plays from Pippen. The quarter was marked by intense physicality and confrontations, players getting tangled up, trash talk flying, and tempers flaring. At one point, Xavier McDaniel and Pippen clashed under the basket, exchanging heated words before Jordan stepped in, pushing Pippen aside and getting right in McDaniel's face, barking, "Baby!" By halftime, the Bulls held a narrow 5-point lead, 56-51, but the Knicks were relentless, staying within striking distance. The battle was fierce, with neither team giving an inch. Every possession felt critical, and the physicality continued to ramp up as both sides fought for control. The stakes couldn't have been higher as the teams headed into the break, knowing that the second half would decide their fates. With the game in the third quarter, it was clear that Michael Jordan was ready to take full control. On both ends of the court, he was everywhere, making difficult baskets and locking down the Knicks defensively. One of the most iconic sequences of the game captured Jordan's dominance. A crucial basket followed by a steal and a massive block, showcasing his unmatched intensity and skill. Meanwhile, Patrick Ewing struggled to get involved. There were long stretches where he didn't touch the ball, partly because of the Bulls' stifling defense and partly due to the Knicks' inability to adjust their offensive strategy. While New York's guards seemed lost, Jordan was asserting himself on the other end, driving to the hoop with acrobatic layups, nailing mid-range shots, and working from the post with ease. At this point, there was nothing the Knicks could do to stop him. Jordan was the engine of Chicago's second-half surge, as the Bulls outscored the Knicks 54-30 in the final 2 quarters. He poured in 42 points, relentlessly attacking on offense while giving New York a taste of its own physical play on defense, collecting 2 steals and 3 blocks. By the time Jordan checked out of the game, the result was no longer in doubt. The Bulls stormed to a dominant 110-81 victory, a 29-point rout that buried the Knicks and sent a clear message. The road to the title still ran through Chicago. Jordan's performance had not only cleared their toughest psychological and physical hurdle, but also cemented his dominance, propelling the Bulls into the Eastern Conference Finals. When it came down to it, Michael Jordan and the Bulls showed up big time, with MJ dropping 42 points, snagging 6 rebounds, dishing out 4 assists, and racking up 2 steals and 3 blocks in Game 7. This wasn't just another win. It was a clear message that Jordan and the Bulls were not just a flash in the pan. They were a force to be reckoned with. The series had it all: intense competition, incredible plays, and a rivalry that would define the NBA for years to come. But it also gave us one of the most iconic moments when in Game 3, MJ spun past John Starks and Charles Oakley and threw down a monster dunk over Ewing. That play said it all. Jordan was the boss, and he was here to stay. Throughout the series, Jordan averaged a killer 31.3 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 4.3 assists, while Ewing put up solid numbers with 22.1 points and 11.1 rebounds. But let's be real, this was just the beginning of a rivalry that would shape the 90s. The Knicks and Bulls faced off time and again, but Jordan always seemed to find a way to win. Ewing's career playoff record against the Bulls stood at a disappointing 1-5, with his only victory coming when Jordan was off playing baseball. In their 70 matchups, MJ owned a 49-21 record, including a 19-8 record in the playoffs. You can bet that fueled some serious trash talk from Jordan toward Ewing. After taking down the Knicks, the Bulls steamrolled through the playoffs, knocking out the Cavaliers and then the Trailblazers in the finals. Jordan was a straight-up beast, averaging 35.8 points per game at 52.6% shooting. That win not only gave the Bulls their second title, but also firmly established MJ as the best player in the league. And they didn't stop there. They went on to three-peat by 1993, showing just how dominant Jordan and the Bulls really were. Jordan's win over Ewing wasn't just a victory in a playoff series. It was a defining moment that propelled the Bulls to new heights and left a lasting mark on NBA history. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the epic rivalry between Jordan and Ewing. Did any specific moments from the series stand out to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. We'll catch you in the next one.